unfortunately what happens a lot is you find your rock bottom. That's when I really found out, like, all right, my foundation is nothing. I didn't have one.
Trevor Foshey, man, God's timing is perfect. I'm so excited to get to talk with you here on the Walk Like a Champion podcast.
Man, honored to be here. I know I told you that before, but it's pretty special to be able to do something like this. So I appreciate it.
I love it. I'm so excited to hear more of your story. But Trevor, just to kick it off, what does it look like in your life to walk like Jesus?
Yeah, I told you there's a lot to that, but I do think the biggest thing to me to walk like Jesus, what I need to be able to do that first is get in the Word. Like it's a must. There's too much that goes on, and everyone's got a different role. But just in my role here as a coach and being over players and working with other staff, yeah, it's very easy to get my mind centered on other stuff. So to be able to walk like Jesus, I need to be in the Word. And what does that look like? I think it's a lot of humility. I think is losing my pride. I think there's a shedding of myself that needs to be done to hopefully I can then look like someone that is looks like others are more important than myself.
In this season of life, what does it look like for you to get into the Word, like throughout your day, throughout your
Yeah.
week? What is that like?
That's the morning, man. I respect if someone can do that at night. Like obviously I'm not like strict on like you have to be the morning. For me, the night, if I open the book, I'm out in 2 minutes. So that's just how it is for me. So the morning is what it has to be. I was talking, we have a group. I know Jason was on here recently, an amazing guy, really good group, a lot of those guys. But we were seeing like what it could look midday. And so I was like, maybe midday needs to be a reset too. Like, that lunchtime, maybe I don't think it's the same amount, like 40 minutes, but like maybe it's 5 to 10. Honestly, still something I'm working on, but really it's the morning time. It's the hopefully get in here by 7 and get some quiet time in before 8. But that's usually what my schedule would look like in this season.
That's so good. That's something I've tried to add this year is usually if I'm in the office, I have the flexibility to choose and
Yeah.
taking a little midday pause. Think about Daniel was known that he was praying 3 times a day, and David,
It's
Jesus.
so hard. Like it sounds great. Sounds great. Like yeah, the 3 times a day, the hey at lunch, I'm gonna take my, 30 minutes, we'll say. But then it goes. But then
Hmm.
life goes. Like so I guess I'm learning my own inability to really prioritize at times. But I do know if I do it like the morning's my best shot. So
Hmm.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's still on me. I do want to be able to get that 10-15 at lunch, like would be awesome. I
Hmm.
also know I don't do a great job at that.
Grace upon grace, and for me, sometimes it's a 1 minute pause. Just like
Yeah.
how did the morning go, Lord? And I know you're here
Yeah.
with me now, but that's so good. I want to hear take us back to young Trevor. What was
Yeah.
life like for you growing up?
Young Trevor was I would say spoiled in the matter of like I was surrounded by great family and great people. Like if I
Mm,
go look back on it, on how many people helped me to be where I am today, it's a crazy number. And honestly, some people I don't even speak to anymore, like especially daily. Kind of like what you talked about with the seasons of life. Like it's just hard to communicate with everybody. But there's a lot of people starting like when I first started tennis. I mean, I was about 11 years old, so a little bit, I guess, to some people later, to some people, I guess, on time. And Europe, I guess that would be late. But yeah, around 11, I was playing basketball and baseball and all those. And my older brother was started to play tennis. And you know how that it like you have an older sibling. I think it's cool. Like in a way, you definitely want to be like them. And he played and he was doing a lesson actually, like his own private. I was hitting with my mom. I mean, at that time, I think I was 10. Like, we're just hitting for fun. And my brother's coach says something like, hey, does he play or anything? And my mom's like, absolutely not. Like, because they're slammed already. I'm like, mom and dad both working. I mean, the amount they drove me to basketball practice at, 9 and 10 was crazy.
mhm.
But I ended up getting into a lesson with her, my brother's coach, at probably a couple months later. And her name was Angie Zaguna, massive part of my tennis story. Without Angie, I wouldn't be where I am right now. That's just a fact. I stayed with her my entire junior career. So from 10 and a half, 11 till college at 18, I was with her. And then yeah, I think by 12 is when I started to get like, all right, some tournaments. Like, okay, I think I can actually hit the ball over the net and be okay. Like it took some time. I started with a two-hand backhand, and some people, I guess not everyone knows, but I have a one-hander now, and but I started with two-hander for like 6 months. But my biggest thing was I want to be like Federer. Like I was locked in on that. And for a lot of reasons, that was not good, which I would find out later. It took a while to see that, but man, I wanted to be just like Federer. I wanted to wear Federer's clothes. I wanted to have his strokes. I wanted to act like him. Whatever he did, I wanted to be. Um, but yeah, that was the start.
When I see 12-year-olds with one hand backhands, I just cringe. But how I feel like I wasn't strong enough till I was 17, 18. Anyways, what was it about Federer that drew you in? Why did you want to walk Federer on the court?
Man, the same thing I would like. Yeah, the same thing. Why I miss seeing him play. Like it was graceful. It was different. It was something the way he won. Not that he just won, but the way he did it, and the way he looked while doing it. Like there was something that was very like it caught my eye, and I was just like instantly like, that's the guy I want to cheer for. And I had some tough losses, man. I mean, I remember these Djokovic losses at up match points. Don't even want to talk about Wimbledon 2019 at all. But yeah, it's crazy how you feel so connected at
Yeah.
one point, like to whoever it is, some sort of athlete. For any athlete out there, I think everyone had that one person they really look to and they follow every match. I mean, I'd wake up, those 3 a.m. times for
Yep.
Australian Open so I can catch the semifinal and the final. But it's just, yeah, the one-hander stuck out. Obviously, I took that, and now it's like, all right, like that's my guy. He's a one-hander. I have a one-hander. Let's go. And the strokes just look so good. Like I just couldn't believe it. Like unreal. And I learned, yeah, I don't know. I like to think in like a 1% way, strokes look similar, but 99% not.
Hmm.
And I needed to get over that to increase my level because trying to play like him, obviously, a lot of coaches would say is a terrible idea.
How did you get so good? How did you go from one hand backhand, young Trevor, to playing at Mississippi State?
Yeah, well, so good is definitely relative. I became able, like, yeah, like you said, I was able to go play at Mississippi State, and for me, that was a huge honor. Like, look, actually first I got declined by Mississippi State. They had a full team and not enough money for what I needed
Mhm.
financially, so the answer was no. So it wasn't like I get to choose what school I want. That was not the case. Also wanted to go to Notre Dame. Like my grandma, my mom's mom had a huge affiliation, Notre Dame, loved Notre Dame, everything about it. And I was like, man, I want to go. Couldn't go there either. That was even more grades wise. Tennis, maybe they'd want me. I was on the edge though. Like I wasn't this great player, but I do think I was able to improve a lot in college. I would definitely I would give myself the pat on the back for that. That goes a lot to the coaches there. Matt Roberts was the head coach, did a fantastic job, still doing a fantastic job. And I had three different assistant coaches, and I would say all of them did a great job. I had Tanner Stump one year. I still have a great relationship with him. Matt Walters, my second year, phenomenal guy, great relationship, and Andrew Goodwin for third and fourth year, and I have a great relationship with him. I thought he did fantastic. So I was surrounded with, and that even goes to junior tennis. Like I kind of mentioned, I was surrounded with people really invested in me, both as a lot as a player, but also as a person. Like a lot of those coaches personable. I mean, I stayed nights at my junior coach's house because I lived with I-4 traffic. I don't know how many people know Orlando I-4 traffic, but sometimes it could take us hour 15 minutes to get to practice. And then I come home at 5:30 rush hour, like hour 15, hour 30. So I sometimes I'd stay nights, and for Angie Zaguna, I had another coach. Her brother ended up coming to help me when I was like 15. Adrian Zaguns played at Arkansas, phenomenal player, great guy. Like I'd go 3 nights a week staying with them, and like not a lot of people had that. Bo Jones was another junior coach. It was like those three were huge, and shoot, I even stayed some nights at her house too. Like so, I was surrounded with people that really are the reason why I was able to even get to a level that was capable of playing maybe some Division One. And then, I mean, we're not even saying all the hours the parents drove to do that. Now that I'm a parent far away from, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, but I'll get there. Like, man, the sacrifice they put in was incredible. Super thankful for that. But then, yeah, even in college, like there was a huge development part. Like I wasn't a great competitor going into college. I like to think that I was, and I think I represented myself on court pretty well, and and from my parents, like try to handle myself well and be polite and respectful. And you can still do those things and be a great competitor, but I didn't have that competitor aspect. I didn't have that grittiness that a lot of people talk about. That's just hard to do if you never experience it. Hard to do if you never go through the hard things. And thankfully, I'll say that now. Thankfully, Matt Roberts put us through some hard things, and I needed it, man. He got the most out of me. Very thankful for him and what that turned into. But also my teammates at that point become massive. If I didn't have my teammates, the Nunos and Nicholas Braun and Strahinja and Giovanni, and I mean I can go on, Stedman, and a lot of guys, man. Gregor, like these guys are massive. Like when you're on a team at that point and you're practicing that hard, like what a student athlete does in Division One, I have a ton of respect for. My first semester, I was, how do people get above a 3.5 and play it and practice at this level and condition at this level? It's incredible. Like I was shell shocked. And then as I go on, like you get more used to doing that and you get better at handling that. But it's still hard. Like it's tough. And I love Mississippi State. I don't think it's the hardest academic school in the world, right? So you have all these other harder academic schools on top of that. I'm like, man, I have a lot of respect for our guys here at Michigan and what they do. Not easy. But yeah, I am thankful for the teammates that I was able to have to get me through it because those, of course, like it's nice winning SEC championships and stuff, but like those nights at the apartment, the team dinners at the cafeteria, like those go a long way, and something obviously I'll remember forever.
When did you get to a spot where you'd say you were competitive? Because you said you weren't competitive
Yeah,
when you showed up. I feel like that's like you see that you have high talent people and there's like a low
yeah,
competitive, or you have this guy's not very talented, but he's got high competitive drive and that helps him. But how did you grow that? And think into coaching, it's like the $1 million question is
yeah.
how do you instill that into your
You instill
players?
that. Yeah, I think one thing I did well was being consistent, and so I mean, I always fought well. Like I think that's why like I didn't think I would play my first year. I ended up playing a decent amount. Not every time in singles, doubles, yes, but not every time in singles. But I did start right away and I was very surprised with that. But I think I fought well. A guy, I'm not going to give up. I'll fight. But there's this deeper sense of competing, problem solving that I wasn't great at. Being willing to, that Brad Gilbert, like winning ugly, like being okay with that. That's what I'm saying. The Federer comments and my mold to want to be like him really hurt me in ways.
Mm,
Because when I'm trying to look that pretty and hit the shot and drop volley off of a dip pass, like, I mean, the hardest shots in the book I'm trying to pull off. And like, that's just not how you win matches. That's not sustainable. Maybe for one match. And I remember a match in juniors. I was like, man, everything clicked. And this is incredible, right? And then in college, maybe one, like, so I'm talking maybe two matches I ever felt like just like incredible. So it's a lot more of the other stuff and like, and how to, make that ball out of the corners and see what shots he doesn't like. Oh, he doesn't love that high backhand. So I do think I'm saying that's more competitive and honestly, in getting confidence too, like you said, like, so how do you install that? It's a different question. But I think until junior year, like I wasn't a great competitor. I got some more opportunities junior year, and so be it, a little bit more success. And I do think that helps as well. Like I saw a little bit more results pay off. But I think that did because of consistency from year one, from year two. Sometimes just take some time. You never know when it's your moment. You just have to kind of, yeah, put in the work and just be ready for when it comes.
mm,
Um, but yeah, how to instill that, I think it goes back to the consistency part. Like I just think that's massive. And again, I could have been consistent and never could have clinched a finals match. It could have happened for sure. Easily could have lost that match. But it did work out, and it could, and the thing is like at least nowadays I'm thinking like I gave everything I had in college and in the training and the workouts. And so I don't regret those things. And I think that'd be key. Like if you go into that and you don't have any regrets, like you probably gave yourself the best shot at becoming the best player you could have been. And I think my teammates and coaches helped me do that, and then I was able to do that through their help. But yeah, the practice is huge, man. How you practice, how well your coaches hold you accountable, I think is a
Mhm.
big deal. And I'm still learning that, like how to do
Mhm.
that better. Because it's not always easy. Like honestly, the nicer guys you have, the harder it is. The nicer guys you have, like, because you feel like, man, I love everything you do. Like the kind of person you are, how you do things, great. But there's still areas like where they make the dumb decision. Like us all, we're all human. Like you make the dumb decision, you're doing the wrong thing, you're not fixing the problem quick enough. Like, but it's hard because like, dude, like they do so much right. Like it's hard to get on them. Somewhere definitely an area like I feel like I need to get better in as a coach because it did. Like I'm thankful for what Matt Roberts did and Tanner and Walters and Andrew Goodwin. Like they held me to a standard when I didn't really always want to be, but it does pay off, you know? Hard to always see that in the moment. And that's why it's also like people pleasing, like it's something I struggle with. Like and so in the moment sometimes you'll get a reaction I don't love. Like, shoot, I don't like to get that reaction. And obviously my response is, all right, don't do that comment that gets that reaction. But that's not always the best way to look at it if I really want to help them be their best. So it's a toss, always fighting for that, man, trying to get better at that.
Mhm. Changing gears a little bit, I've been able to talk with Tanner and Matt. What an amazing three assistant coaches that
Man,
you're able to play with. But I know
yeah.
both of them and their faith in Christ. I'm just curious if you're willing
Hmm.
to share just some of your faith journey throughout the years
Yeah.
and how that being coached by them influenced your faith as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, especially those two, Tanner Stump and Matt Walters, had a massive part in my faith journey. Because I came to a crossroads in senior year of college, actually,
Wow.
and because of them, I mean, I had distinct conversations with Tanner and a dinner in person with Matt Walters during that time. That really helped me get back on the right road, the clear path. But I grew up in a Christian home. Thankful to have that. Like not everybody gets that. I think a lot of us are very blessed to grow up in the U.S. because not everywhere is like you can just be that open and go to church and all that stuff. Like, the older I get, the more I see like, man, how lucky was I to be born here. But yeah, my dad ended up starting to work in a church. I think it was '08. So I was about 12 years old when he started to actually work in a church. We even went before that, but then he started working in a church. So then obviously it's even like, come on, like now you have to. Um, so I grew up going to church, but with the tennis schedule, like I think a lot of people or any athlete would say, like it's not always easy. I didn't have a great community at church. My dad worked there, siblings go every week, but like I didn't always go. And yeah, there's two sides. Like my parents were very gracious to allow me to go play these tournaments. Like these national tournaments are every weekend, and you're traveling, and it's hard to make church. They allowed me to do that. Made the relationships at church younger age a little tougher. And honestly, I didn't do a great job with building a strong foundation. Thought my parents did a great job, and definitely was, I'd say, more on me and my immaturity. I was definitely on my parents' faith, but I went into college with like everyone. I think if you asked every one of my teammates or coaches, like, oh, he believes in God. Like Trevor's religious, you'll hear that a lot, and he believes in God. So I had that going for me, right? Like for sure, I think they'd all say that. Um, but by my actions that were done and my faith journey got seriously tested going into college. Especially, I was a lot homeschooled younger. I went to elementary school, middle school all online, high school mostly online, very little in person. And maybe that played a little role into, now you got this freedom, and the freedom was so cool. Like to me, I think like, and I love my family, loved being at home. Still love family, and now I have like new family. Like it's family's massive to me, but it was still a cool feeling of this responsibility is now all kind of on me. And I wasn't ready for it. Wasn't ready for it. I made decisions I'm not proud of, made decisions that would showcase, according to the Bible, that I wasn't saved. I wasn't living my life for Christ. That was very clear. I can say that with no issues. But at the same time, I'm going to FCA. I'm going to church when I can. Like, I'm fighting that. I'm not all in, but I'm doing what I hopefully can get me there. And I just started feeling a pit in my stomach. I think that first pit came maybe sophomore year or junior year, like feeling something. I'm like, oh, I'm doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing. But it's awesome anyways. Like, let's keep going. And but senior year is where a lot of it really changed. And I got out of a relationship, and I was kind of at that point where I was putting my dependency on a relationship and in material things, and it got shook real hard. And so that's when I really found out, like, all right, my foundation is nothing. I didn't have one for sure. Honestly, I got into reading a lot more at that time because at that point, unfortunately, what happens a lot is you find your rock bottom, and then we'll like, okay, what do I need to find something, and maybe that's how a lot of people's salvation comes. Honestly, for me, my rock bottom was at that moment, and that's what it took for me. I hope for a lot of people. My wife, no, she's unbelievable. She had a great story. I hope our children have my wife's story, and they're just straight and narrow their whole time. But I didn't have that. I hit rock bottom. I'm reading, not even the Bible yet, like a lot of John Gordon motivational books, Tony Dungy, Quiet Strength. I don't know if you've read that. One of my favorite books of all time. Um, and then, yeah, honestly, conversations with Tanner and dinner with Matt Walters. FCA was a big part for me in college, even freshman, sophomore, junior year. I was doing it. Jimmy was the head of FCA, fantastic guy, very thankful for him. And he stayed with me, man. I told him like I was a part of a leadership group, and then I asked out of it. And then a couple months later, I was going through this stuff, and then finally, I asked my spring of senior year, "Hey, can I get back in it?" And he stayed with me. I told him I was getting out of it, didn't chew me out and say you're not, your terrible decision. He kind of like was just there in that moment for me, and stayed consistent through that. And so I got back on the leadership team. I never really read the Bible. I never really read the Bible. So getting into the Word was something new, and I started doing my senior year, spring. I ended up getting rebaptized. I recommitted my life. I got baptized when I was younger, of course, kind of impossible not to when your dad works in the church. So I got baptized younger, but I did recommit my life in June of 2019. And it was a completely different. I knew what I was doing. And even when I got my life, when I recommitted my life to Christ, like I said in that moment, I did it around like family and friends and a neighbor's pool. Really cool. It was like I'm choosing now to run after Christ. Like I knew God, I knew of Him, I believed He was real. I did, but I didn't act in a way that was really like pursuing Him full on. So I decided then, like, all right, I'm gonna get in the Word, and I'm gonna run after Him and how I do things. So I did have a little lifestyle change. I even have some buddies, and I love them still, but they'll say like, "Oh, this is like new Foch." And so a way it's kind of like, oh, my best buddies don't love it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's kind of encouraging. You see
Compliment.
something different in my words or my actions in a way, which is pretty cool. So I did find encouragement in that. But yeah, and then now I'm married and have a 1.5-year-old son. Like, my goodness, it's unbelievable. So now I'm in a little different season, but yeah, pretty cool.
You said June 2019, and right about that time, Derek would have been hiring you, correct? Tell me so you're getting rebaptized and
Yeah,
graduating, and then you go to Liberty. Tell me about that
yeah.
process.
Yeah, Derek first called me like right after we lost NCAA's in May. That's when he called me. I already knew at that point. I knew it was March or early spring that I wanted to get rebaptized. I wanted to recommit my life. Just didn't happen until after season and getting back home. But I knew at that point what I wanted. But then, yeah, he calls me, unreal call. He's driving in the car, and he had two young kids, and he's like, stopping. I got to change a diaper. Let me call you back. Like great conversation. Ended up seeing him. He came to NCAA's with one of his players, Nikase Mwamba, who's an unbelievable guy, by the way. And so that's I got to see them there. He came over to my parents' house for dinner in Orlando, and I ended up um, going to take the job shortly after. I didn't start till I don't know when officially July or soon after, like because then I went recruiting in Europe. But yeah, it was right around that time. Like I knew I was going to Liberty at that point, and starting a new career.
How did your faith grow in those next, whatever, 3, 4 years while you're there?
Liberty was the best place I could have went. Liberty was exactly what I needed. Selfishly, I'm saying that, and I hope I grew a lot of strong relationships there. I hope my guys feel like I was all in for them. But it was really, really good for me. I needed it. I was still like, in that stage of like, all right, I'm building a strong foundation. I know what the foundation is, but doesn't mean I'm going to be making always the right decisions. And then so to go to a school that's outwardly towards Christ and what they do and everything they do. And then a head coach in Derek, who's a very strong believer who follows Christ and one of the strongest people that I know that does that, just built me huge. Like, because now I'm adding a new career field. How am I going to help develop these guys? And to also at the same time, like, how am I going to care for them as a person? Because that's a very hard part of this job is like caring for them, but also being successful on the court, but being successful off. And like, how do you manage that? What do you care more? Where are you putting the value in? And it's a very, yeah, easy to put the value in the wrong thing. Derek does it in the absolute right way. And so I was able to learn from him and see how he would do it, grow in, all the worship settings that Liberty has and really build my faith through those times. Um, Massive. Like I'm so thankful. I love Liberty, amazing school, amazing place. They do a lot of things really well, and it's really cool because they're doing great in athletics, and I hope they continue to do so. But I also found my wife at Liberty. So Liberty was like unbelievable to me. Outside of salvation, marrying my wife was the best decision I ever made. And again, now you talk about like I think directly correlates because she helps me grow in my faith. I mean, the marrying a godly woman is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe what that does for you. And it's so many little things. Like, of course, the big obvious thing is, yeah, you're happy and making decisions together, but the daily, like how, when a kid's waking up at 1 in the morning every day, and like how are we treating each other? And I'm treated like royalty somehow. And she can only do that because she's saved by grace and she treats me like that. So, marrying a godly woman, gosh, hey, whoever's listening, find that best thing you could ever do.
I have to ask the question that everyone would want me to ask, but what caused you to get engaged in under 4 months of dating her?
Honestly, like the cool thing, obviously, right when I saw her, I knew right away. And there is a lot to that, but there's also the season of life. Now I think I was 25 at that time. I'm not in
Mhm.
college or high school. We've both gone through our relationships and breakups and kind of know what you want at this point. Like I said, she's super strong in her faith. She's stronger in her faith than I was for sure. Honestly, thank goodness we didn't meet till then, right? Because I needed some workings. So yeah, we kind of knew what we were looking for. And it's just we had a coffee date November 8th. She came and watched us play a hidden duel match in November. ODU ended up being like a 4 hour match because we played it out. And the Case Mwamba goes 7-6 in the third. So that's how it started. I invited her to come watch that. And she did, and we got coffee. Yeah, that was Friday night, so Monday morning. Um, Bean Tree Coffee ended up closing down, but yeah, it's just it goes quick. Honestly, like, and we ended up getting married June 4th. So what is that? 7 months in total from first date to married. I wish it was sooner. I could have done sooner. The only reason we didn't is because of the season. Like it was clear as day.
Mm.
And I think that's the big thing. Like there's so much peace and clarity in that decision. And so people are like, how do you know certain things? Well, I tell you what, now I'm like, what are we in 2025 coming up on year three? And I say the best decision ever. Like, so of course, like maybe you don't know every single thing about them and how they would deal with this or sharing a bathroom together. Like yeah, you can give me a lot of comments, even people that don't maybe have a strong relationship with Christ, but like I don't know, I made a decision in under 4 months and absolutely I got a huge reward out of it. So I think it's possible.
Praise God for that. I love it. it's beautiful to see. It's something we should lift up is marriage. So I love your heart for that. What was the best marriage advice that you were given? You know, quick engagement, quick marriage,
Uh,
or flip it. Now that what you've seen after 3 years, what would you tell a young person who is getting ready to get married?
yeah, I'm trying to remember I mean we got a lot of fantastic advice on such young. We did marriage counseling going into it. And I think that was very helpful. We got to learn more about each other and all that. Um, but it's different, man. Like I said, now it's like you have a new family. I have a new number one on persons on earth. You know what I mean? Like it does shift like that. And so I think, and I remember someone telling me that the priority changes,
Mm,
not that you don't love your family, your mom, dad, brother, sister any less. Yeah, it's not that. It's just like you have now, when it says you are now one in the Bible,
mm,
like there's a seriousness about that I didn't truly understand. But that I come to see more and more. Obviously, I'm far from it. Like you know these things and experience these things a lot more than I have. But I'm coming to your level one day. But yeah, it's just learning that now it's shifting and obviously part even away from me. Now it's like all on like she is my goal. And honestly, that's the season I'm in where it's harder to maybe get the best quiet time and like to have all this free time to do quiet walks and all this stuff. Not as easy with the baby and the job, but knowing that my way to serve Christ is by serving her to the best of my ability. That's something I've been learning a lot. Hopefully, doing a better job here and there. But that's a huge focus for me, and I think probably hopefully some decent advice for someone else getting if they're looking at getting married or engaged, like just being able to learn how to serve her best. And obviously, like how does that happen? Then we go back to how we started the podcast with being in the Word. Like I have to be pursuing the Lord, yes, on my own in a way for sure, so that I can then serve her better, which is massive, massive to be able to do that. Dude, you're taking two different people, like I'm my own completely different person for 25 years. She is her own for 25 years. She had her sets of parents, amazing in-laws, by the way. And I have my own parents, amazing parents, but it doesn't mean like we do everything the same. We grew up differently, and now you're telling everything now has to come one. Now you're one, and so bringing two people to become one is like it's a lot of change
mhm,
you know and honestly I in a way my words can get caught here. In a way I'm kind of like amazed at how people that aren't following Christ do marriage. In a way I'm a little like amazed, like well done.
mhm,
But I think it could be like I don't know how you go through some things without being on the same page. At the end of the day, like hey, this is our temporary home. Like we have eternal life, we have a creator, so we can kind of lean on that in certain times, when bad things happen, like wow, this is why it's amazing how they can do it
mhm,
without having that eternal perspective.
mhm.
But in a way, kudos.
No. Yeah, the word serve. Right before I got married, my pastor gave me really quick advice. He was busy walking past me. Hey,
Mm,
got one more word for me, sir? And he
no
said,
way.
you lose every time," and walked away. And I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
okay." And anyways, that it made me think in your role as a coach too, because the first time I met you, you're
Mm,
like, "Hey, pray for this player. It's the first time he's going to go to church," and that guy is now leading the team spiritually,
wow.
and so just I'm thinking about your role as a coach, and so just how do you
Yeah.
do that? How do you do that at Michigan?
Mm,
As your secular school, obviously,
yeah.
you're not passing Bibles out, but you're just there
Yeah.
doing high quality work and trying to be the light. But what's that like for you?
It's a great question. I mean, it's something I'm asking daily right now and talking to my small groups with that we have, and feel like, yeah, I think I could be doing a better job. So what does it look like? Like you're right, it's not as open. It's not like we're having team huddle and prayer at practice or at the end of the day or um, devotions or stuff. Like it looks different. And so again, this is where it comes back where I think my wife does a fantastic job and the encouragement she gives me and how I live my day, how I talk to them, how I treat them has a great way of showing Christ. And I'm not in any way saying that you don't have to say words to share Christ. I think that's a massive part of the gospel message. Like it is communicating. Um, but it's not always as simple as that. And maybe the role I'm in right now, and having to develop the relationship and getting the one-on-one time and the trust to be able to do that, and hopefully through the moments and how I treat the refs and how I treat them and how I pursue loss, how I deal with losses, and I'm hoping like those things show. So it is a big part for me. Like honestly, before a match, like, all right, Lord, please help me in how I treat the refs and see how this match goes. But just to make sure I represent you well, I think that's a big part of my message right now is how I deal with those things.
Mm.
Um, and prayerfully, I think I can do a better job praying for more opportunities for maybe guys to be open or to come talk. And so again, far from perfect from it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Like I would take any advice on how to do it
Mm.
better, but that's where I'm at right now on that
Yeah.
side.
And I think prayer is a perfect place to start and how we like to end the podcast. And so just thanks for making time here in the middle of a busy spring to
Absolutely.
share your story. And I know we could go for another hour of more, but
No, we
is
couldn't.
there
I'll say one thing. I think Chad, just for a shout out to you, like you do an incredible job. And for everybody listening, like no one, they don't all know like what you do behind the scenes. Super thankful for what you do. Super thankful for your family because I know what a commitment is from your wife and even your kids that maybe don't know it yet. But the decision you made to walk away from coaching and pursue this, and with a lot of not really any knowns of how you're going to provide maybe in certain areas, like it's been incredible. I'm super thankful for what you've done, and even for me, like check-ins and the messages that I don't always respond great to, but I promise you, I do appreciate them and I do see them. So I just want to say thanks for that.
thanks for your kind words. But how can we be praying for you? Just are you sensing anything in this next season of life?
Yeah, I think praying for me to continue to put the value of our guys and my care for their heart above my care for the result. Um, I want to say I do it well, but I promise you I don't do it perfectly. So, big prayer for that. Um, and then just, yeah, prayer for continue to be. Derek actually learned this is great. This, I guess, the advice I could put to leave this with is to be a great husband, and then a great father, and then a great coach. Um, and I know I say coach third, and I hope whoever sees this says, oh, he doesn't care about being coach. I care a ton. This is a massive part of my life, but I do want to be a
Mhm.
better husband, and I want to be a better father before a better coach. And that was advice Derek gave me from someone that gave it to him.
Yeah, you got the priorities right. Love it, man. Let's uh let's pray together.
Yes, sir.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we need you. We are needy people. And God, thank you just for this time that we could talk about you and talk about tennis. Thank you so much for Trevor, God. Thank you for these priorities. I do pray that he'd value his guys' hearts more than results, God. And I just pray that you would bless and protect him and Jordan in marriage, that he'd raise up Charlie to be a man of God, that he'd come to know you at a young age and follow you all the days of his life. And Lord, help us to walk like you. Help us to make your name known. And we should pray that all this in Jesus' most powerful name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chad.